What's up, guys? It's me, Scorpion Blazing 9, and today I am finally reacting to the 2026 Australian Grand Prix. And yes, F1 is back. So I've seen a lot of these cars because they were it was a remodel. So because these old cars are, you know, I miss the I need to talk slower. I miss the I miss the old ones because they were too. Okay, I know I have stutter issues. So okay. Anyways, I miss the old F1 cars from 2022 to through 2025 because I feel like these cars look too large. I miss the small one. I miss the small ones. Anyways, enough talking since I can't talk too much since because I need to I need to I huh. Okay. Anyways, let's watch it.
No, not yet. What about the pace? Are you happy where you started the year? Were you expecting more? Or were you... I'm not happy with what the gap is to Mercedes, but I don't think anyone else is. They've done a good job. They've done a great job. Happy where we are in relation to Ferrari and Red Bull. I think we're all very close, but catching Mercedes, I think today is not realistic for any of us. But let's see. Okay.
What can you do to close that gap to Mercedes over the next few months?
Go faster.
How's that?
What is it? What do you have an upgrade coming already? Oh yeah. But so does everyone else, right? Yeah. So it's a question about developing the competition, because as you know, no one's sitting still. But no, I got a lot of confidence in our racing team. I think we've shown we know how to develop a race car. So let's see where we are at the end of today and go from there. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck. We'll let you go. Thank you very much. Okay, well, we can now say and hear from Max Verstappen, who had a bit of a nightmare in quali yesterday. He starts 20th and he's been speaking to Lawrence Barretto.
There are few things to add. Let me mute this.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I had the question.
Okay, so there are some things to ask. I mean, some quite things to ask. So I heard that Max Verstappen was out of the quality. He's in the P20 because he was driving in the grass. If you guys haven't heard, check it on TikTok or Instagram.
What damage do you think he can do from the back one, Pablo?
It's going to be really interesting. We're going to see how good the cars can pass. How, you know what I mean?
Alright, the race starts in 12 minutes.
The overtake button, how efficient it is, and how good it is. So we'll see.
We just walked past Isaac Hadjar's car. He's in P3. He's been so incredibly impressive, hasn't he? What do you think he can do today?
He's very good in the racing. He's very solid. He's very mature. I think we have to wait and see. We need to see how good the starts are. The question is, between him and Lewis, anybody can be in the podium. You would assume the two Mercedes are going to be in the podium if nothing happens. but that fight for the third place is going to be incredible to watch.
What I think so impressive now for Red Bull is the fact that they've never had somebody there in that second car that when Max makes a mistake, they can pick it up. They did with Isaac Hadjar, right?
He did, and he's very good. So we'll see. I mean, I'm really excited. He's very good in the races. He's very mature. He understands how to manage the tires, and he's been very close to Max. You gotta say for his first.
Well, I just heard George Russell just won in pole one.
So it looks really
I hope
solid.
he's gonna
We've
win
moved up to
because
the top of the grid. The Mercedes are
I thought
around
Lando's
us.
was
The
good.
Mercedes
I thought
team are
Lando was
just
gonna
so
win.
comfortable and confident, aren't they?
Look at him. It's just calm and
Well, he's in.
That's what
I
they're
mean,
always
he's
been
in
about.
third
And
place.
because they've won so much, they know what they need to do.
He's
They're not
already in
excited.
third
They're
place.
just business as usual. And when you can deliver, and for the drivers, when the drivers feel, you look at Kimi, and Kimi's just calm. It's just everybody around Kimi's calm.
I need to go wash my car.
I think he will
Okay.
open up, and it's going to be just a nice and relaxed drive. Kimi needs to do whatever he can to prevent that.
What's it like being a driver
9 minutes.
when you're lining up in the grid? There's so much noise. There's people.
I mean 10
absolutely
minutes.
everywhere. What is going through your mind?
You're just so focused on what you need to do. You don't, you kind
I
of
gotta wear it
self-doubt.
down.
And you just need to, it's kind of weird. I never like getting in the car too early because it just gives you a lot of time to sit down and think about things, and you don't want to think about anything. You just want to be completely zoned out. You know what I mean? Just get in the car, execute, go. For Kimi, it's going to be a clean run into turn one, and you're just thinking you're going to be looking at that light and say, come on, come on, come on, and get that reaction.
Not going to lie, can't hear a word you said. But do you remember what it felt like? Do you miss that feeling?
No. No, once you get going, it's fine. The parade lap is really stressful because you don't want to make any mistakes. You don't want to be all got out and screw up coming to the grid, and I've done that as well, and I've done that here.
And there's that man. There is George Russell. He starts on pole position. He's got his helmet on. He is ready to go. Juan Pablo, what is your prediction today?
I think it's Mercedes 1-2 for sure. I think P3 is up for grabs, and it could be a Ferrari. For me, P3 would be a Ferrari today.
Would you back Kimi to be able to cause some problems for his teammate, George?
If he can't in the first lap, I see it really difficult. Because I don't think Mercedes would allow it too much. They allow three
I think I should change Lando Norris.
From what we saw in qualifying, George can manage the energy a little better, and he's a little more mature, so I think that plays.
What do you think Kimi will have to do, though?
Oh, he's got to go for road. Yeah, I mean, he wants to think long term. You don't want to let George build that confidence. When he builds that confidence, he's going to be in trouble.
You talk about Isaac Hadjar in third. You feel like that's where maybe the competition is going to happen. Who do you think is going to cause him issues?
Oh, the Ferrari starts. I think everybody, the Ferrari gets the start that we
There.
I think everybody's in trouble right now. So the big question is, what are you doing to turn one? Do you go aggressive? Do you go conservative? Everybody talks about lockups. We haven't seen a lot, but we're going to be on cold tires going into turn one, full deployment, completely crazy. You need to deliver. And you're going to have half of the grid going, oh, I don't want to be too aggressive, and half of the grid is, I'm going to win the championship today.
And what do you think is going to go through the driver's mind very quickly? We've got new regulations. Is it going to be more stressful than usual?
It is very stressful because everybody's thinking about, when you recover that energy, am I going to lock up the rear tires? And somebody's going to have full confidence. He's going to go a lot deeper and stop the car, and somebody is going to be in trouble.
All right, perfect. Well, Pablo, thank you very much. Thank you to Jolyon Palmer, Ruth Boston as well. Let's get going, guys. Let's get this season underway.
7 minutes.
In the Melbourne sun. Who is going to be our first winner in this new era of Formula One? Everybody, sit back and enjoy this. Have a good one.
This broadcast of Formula One on Apple TV is presented by American Express.
I think I should go to I think I should go to Discord and put some audio in because people are watching it.
When every day feels the same, one man wants more. I need an adventure. So Ken goes to Expedia, the one place you go to go places. So if I book my flight now, but I stay later, book now or add later. You still save. Thanks, voice of the sky. The more Ken travels, the more he saves. Bundling flights, stays, and cars. Good, Morrissey. He even got this rental with his rewards. And Ken that, he was free. Ken, in Italy, they also died on a ride. Miss Goosey. Expedia, the one place you go places.
This broadcast of Formula One on Apple TV, presented by American Express. There's traveling, and then there's seeing the world with Platinum. There's nothing like a stay that sets the standard with the largest global hotel program.
I'll be right back. Ooh, just heard the new intro. New titles, new everything.
Formula One. Today we'll watch a new driver, see new teams, new engines, new cars, new fuel and new tyres. But on the grid, the racing challenge remains unaltered. Sporting story, the beginning of a season is always special. Here's the starting grid for the opening Grand Prix of
Okay, 21st and 22nd, Carlos Sainz and Lance Stroll.
They are at the back, but they are not last. We'll explain why.
Valeri and Max Verstappen.
Into the wall and out.
Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez,
Fernando Alonso,
Alexander Franco Colapinto from Argentina,
he's next to Alex Albon on the grid. Pierre Gasly, next to his countryman
Esteban Ocon,
Oliver Behrman is the driver in 12th.
Nico Oliver,
Hulkenberg, who's been pushed to the pits. Gabriel Bortoleto, great efforts, Q3. What a debut for Arvid Lindblad. Lead racing ball all
Lewis and
season.
Liam,
Until we got to qualifying, and then it was Liam Lawson who hit. Lewis Hamilton.
Oscar, and my favorite driver, Lando.
Lando Norris is in sixth, there will be a gap where we would have had home favourite
Isaac and Charles,
finds himself in the wall on the reconnaissance lap.
George Russell and Kimi Antonelli.
Formula One qualifying for Isaac Hatcher, who is P3. And at the front, eventually, Kimi Antonelli won an eventful day he had on the way to P2, but he got there. And the driver to beat in Formula One is George Russell. He is the championship favourite yesterday. He showed us why with his 8th career pole position, and it was a handsome margin as well. The crowd, well, their spirits have recovered, but they've had an almighty shock. The Oscar Piastri fans can't believe that he's not on the grid. We have one in the pit lane, we have one out of the race. I've got a couple of experts.
I feel bad for him.
It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you up to the
after he drove the grass.
We are expecting to be a day of drama. David Coulthard, 13-time Grand Prix winner, and Julian Palmer, our analyst, to read you through the play-by-play of this race alongside. Gentlemen, what on earth is about to unfold in front of us?
Well, what we've just experienced, the uncertainty of these new regulations, the driver being caught out. We saw it already in qualifying with Max Verstappen, the one that you would always put your money on to catch a car, losing it. Oscar Piastri, who would seemingly just be feeling the car on the way to the grid, and he bends it. So, what more alive?
Julian, who's in Hulkenberg, your old teammate, who's in the pit lane. We could get a little bit of old school unreliability today.
It's got that feel. We haven't even spoken about Aston Martin, who've been struggling. We don't know how far they'll get into the race. It's got a feel where anyone can score points. We don't know who will win the race, even if Mercedes are out front in terms of one-lap pace. What is going to unfold? How are the starts going to be? There's so many different things that still go into winning a motor race, and I don't think anyone knows how this is going to play out really.
We're grateful for your company as we begin the season, and we are not too far away from beginning the formation.
All right.
Well, George Russell off the line, and he finds himself with Kimi Antonelli alongside.
Go. Just a test.
Isaac Hadjar in third, that was his best in Formula One. There's not too much between the one-stop strategy or the two-stop strategy. It's going to give teams variation. The first challenge becomes, can you get the car off the line? It looked like an Alpine was slow away there. They've stalled, and the last car has passed them. You would be pushed to the pit lane. They're underway for the formation lap for Formula One in 2026.
Everyone wants as much practice at the starts as you can possibly get with these new cars. So I think a few of them were letting the cars ahead go and then trying to do a really as close to practice launch as you can possibly get. Hamilton was another one in what is supposed to be a rocket ship Ferrari off the line.
Yeah, well, that's what they've teased us with in pre-season testing. That's what he'll be hoping for as we get to run down to a first corner, which is not without incident. It may be seen as a fairly straightforward short apex right-hander, but we've seen cars being launched. We've seen multiple incidents there over the years. This feels like today, if you're mid-grid or further back, just be really careful. Get through that first corner because the attrition will come later.
I'm getting flashbacks to last year when we lost one on the formation lap and we were saying exactly the same thing, but that was with stable rems and a very, very wet day. Now it's beautiful conditions, but no one knows what these cars
Oh, last year he won. That's good.
Hey, anybody off?
How is it going to play out? What's interesting is we just picked up now Russell brings the field down to pace to allow them to punch up as he comes out.
O'clock at night.
But he was in a hard outlap. He really wanted to feel the car. He wanted to know, right? Maybe learning from what we saw with Oscar, that was a quicker outlap than normal.
Battery deployment and harvesting is going to be so important with this new regulation, this new generation of car. You have to make sure you have that battery topped up when you're wheel to wheel, and not more so than the start of the race. So it's going to be critical that everyone does that. Backs up, charges the battery as best as possible, and then all focus to the start and the light.
Nervy moments for the McLaren team, the reigning constructor champions, and you're on board with the reigning driver champion, Lando Norris, car number one, the sole remaining McLaren in the Grand Prix. That is Lauren Meggies, the CEO and chief principal of Red Bull Racing.
All right.
Hadjar has never been as
We're ready.
on the grid. Watch out for
I'm ready for this.
Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, because Ferrari starts have been astonishing every single time they've practiced it. We have Hulkenberg in the pit lane, uncertain to join the Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri in the wall, he's out before the lights have even extinguished. Aston Martin is going through the mill, they are watching on. Cars forming into position. The last car is in place. We've got a 5-second pause.
Here we go.
Time to look to the lights. That is the agreed procedure. Here we go. So much talk, it's time for some action. Our journey around the world to crown a champion is about to begin.
Here we go.
Formula One in 2026.
5 seconds.
When the 5 red lights
4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
the new season unbelievable chance to go from third to first, but he didn't get a good launch, and Charles Leclerc to the inside. He's done it! What a start for the Ferraris! Charles Leclerc goes through. He claims 3 positions and takes the lead from 4th on the grid. Charles Leclerc, George Russell, then Isaac Hadjar are your top 3. There was so much wheel spin for those on the front row. Kimi Antonelli is already down, and what an absolutely superb getaway for Arvid Lindblad, who's into 4th. Charles Leclerc, then George Russell, Hadjar, Lindblad, Hamilton, your top 5.
He teased it in winter testing, they delivered it here in Bahrain, and he has bolted. He's absolutely bolted away at the front here, and this now is not on the script for Mercedes.
Leclerc's initial getaway wasn't actually as outstanding as we expected. Hamilton was almost coming through for the lead as well.
Early battling, you've got Pierre Gasly putting the pressure on Esteban Ocon. These two starting together. Been a really horror around the outside. That is very, very close there between the two Red Bull stable drivers. About to go wheel to wheel. Unbelievable, Arvid Lindblad. Hamilton then gets up to 3rd. Frenetic opening lap in Albert Park.
Yeah, well, if anyone doesn't know his name, they do now. He went wheel to wheel, toe to toe with the sister team, but it's the big sister. And absolutely brilliant wheel to wheel racing, but advantage Ferrari on that start.
Can he come back immediately? Yes, he does. Hadjar gets back immediately. So where do you deploy the power? Is everything. It's pass and repass. On the opening lap of the season, Charles Leclerc leads for Ferrari. Then it's George Russell for Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton picking his way past Hadjar. Then Lindblad, a great getaway. You can see it was a great lap for one of the racing bulls in Arvid Lindblad. A terrible getaway for Liam Lawson, who's plunged down through the field, down 10.
Russell putting pressure on Leclerc straight away. This will be interesting coming out of turn 6. Antonelli, by the way, is 7th. He lost out so much on that first lap. Here comes Russell, though.
George Russell would not have expected the Ferrari to be that good off the line. From 4th on the grid to the lead, but he's doing something about it. That Mercedes is a rocket ship. Charles Leclerc will try and hang on to it. He's a former winner around here in the past. Now let's go bottom left with Max Verstappen.
These cars need to be added with the nitro bottle.
Out front, George Russell sweeps by, and the Mercedes man reclaims the lead on lap 2.
Yeah, well, this is what we're going to start to see in this new form of Grand Prix racing. When do you want to save, and when do you want to deploy the overtake? And it's quite clear if George doesn't want to run in dirty air. He's prepared to use that battery early.
Overtake is enabled. Single detection point gives the driver more power automatically. Can Charles Leclerc use it as he goes down? He goes through the active aero zone, the front wing element, the rear wing element opening together, and Leclerc was unable to come back. Antonelli, who started from the front row, drops himself down to 7th with a poor getaway off the line. Got to say, when the practice starts earlier on, the Mercedes looked in the middle. They were very much at the bottom end of things as we had different phases of the start. Start replay is going to be unbelievable. Antonelli putting pressure on the world champion, left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, the start, of course, is completely down to the driver reaction and the internal combustion engine until they get some momentum, some distance away from the line.
How much battery has Leclerc got now to try and get back towards Russell? How much did Russell have to use to take the lead on the last lap?
There's a big closing speed coming. If you see the flashing lights of the car ahead, it means it's slowing down, and Charles Leclerc is going to try and go all the way around the outside to retake the lead for the Australian Grand Prix.
There was a moment when I was watching that, and it was like, is he not, is he going, and is he dead? No, this is what we're going to have, cat and mouse, peloton style racing further down the field.
Antonelli gets Norris. Norris won't fight that. You can't fight too hard at this stage of the race to deplete the battery. You've been falling back into the clutches of the driver behind.
Leclerc's doing Hamilton a favour as well, because Lewis is starting to get back towards these two who are squabbling. Now it's going to be George that's got the chance, with the extra battery deployment available, being within that 1 second, the new regulation. It's not like DRS, but it's a similar thing now. Without opening the rear wing, it's all done on battery. And there we go, Lewis is right in the mix.
The Mercedes is unbelievable when it can run its own pace in clear air. Enter a Ferrari-sized problem.
Yeah, he is the meat in that Ferrari sandwich. And, recharged Lewis Hamilton for the season. Disappointed with not being able to get full deployment in qualifying, slightly out of position, but no such sign of that as this Grand Prix has started.
Russell will get the same chance has been happening on the last couple of laps at this point on the circuit. Out of turn 6, This is the area of maximum deployment. It's such a big run as the active aero kicks in, the rear and the front wings open, and Russell will get a chance to close in.
So Russell trying to claim it back. But remember, the driver's getting used to this. This is not what they have had at any stage of their career. They're having to understand when to use the battery and when to just run in the slipstream. The top three are covered by 1.5 seconds. Russell can't come back into turn 11. Max Verstappen can go all the way around the outside of turn 9 and take P13.
More moves coming further back. I tell you what, Leclerc hammered it into the fast corners there. Russell was right with him. But there is still dirty air with this new generation of Formula One car. Hopefully it's a little bit less than we've seen. But Charles Leclerc gave it full beams through the high speed and he managed to keep George behind for another lap.
Yeah, well, this is heartwarming for the Tifosi, who had a winless season last year. One way to go as we see Antonelli getting a pass done now as well on Lindblad. So that underlying taste of the Mercedes allowing him to come back. And I haven't seen that replay of the starters yet, but he really bobbed down off the line, and that's where he was swamped into the first corner.
Nice problem to have when you've got lots of overtaking on the racetrack. That's exactly what we've got at the moment. Max Verstappen gets past Fernando Alonso, driver who is a four-time world champion. He's on the hard tyre, he's making light work of the middle pack.
I love that Aston Martin put Fernando on a softer start as well from the back. Go and have fun and start racing with the guys around you. Made a bit of progress early on.
Two retirements from the Australian Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri on the reconnaissance lap, finding the barrier on the exit of turn 4. Nico Hulkenberg was pushed to the pit lane and did not top the lights. We told you that was a possibility. Charles Leclerc, 6/10 of a second, as the teams work out how on earth to run these cars with such a big change on chassis and power units. Go back to the start.
Yeah, so let's just keep an eye on Antonelli right of screen. It just doesn't get that initial launch, and then that allows Charles Leclerc picks up a little.
I'm not sure why does my phone keeps. I don't know why my phone almost shuts it off.
And happy days.
Well, I was paying
The
attention.
reason he didn't initially launch so quickly was actually because Antonelli was
Just
so
automatically
slow. He had to
keeps
put some
going.
steering in to get round the Mercedes.
Shit.
There is Arvid Lindblad in the white and blue Racing Bulls car, going around Lando Norris, around Lewis Hamilton, and getting up eventually past the driver who was promoted to the senior team, Isaac Hatcher.
Yeah, sorry, I was talking over you there as you go on board with Charles Leclerc. So just listen. I was wheel spin actually for Antonelli. I thought he bogged down.
This is brave then into the first corner because he didn't do it all on the getaway. He still had to commit on the brakes, and through he went, perfectly executed.
Russell sacrificed some of his second face for the start to cover off Hadjar, and Leclerc took advantage of it. This is Arvid Lindblad, currently running P6 to start at P9.
So some questioned whether he had the results in F2 to justify the move up. I think the underlying racing ability is something that's always been clear. And, well, what a showcase moment for him to handle the pressure of that.
In the background, Kimi Antonelli is up. He's going to cling on to the lead with his fingertips for as long as possible.
Well, he has a new bride in the paddock to impress. And now want clean air.
Yeah, I think Charles actually defended that perfectly, squeezed him really aggressively, but left that car's width on the inside, right on the white line. It's then pretty bold to send it in on the brakes there when you're so tight to the inside. It's a little bit too far back into his turn 3. I think Russell held back for a couple of laps. So very dangerous by Leclerc, especially what we spoke about.
The briefing is the driver's briefing. It's a meeting with everyone, with the FIA and the race director.
Awesome here.
So, cars have changed, the pecking order's changed, George Russell has not changed.
Yeah, please, sir. Yeah. Look, I don't think that.
He was a little bit quicker than his personal best on the last lap, actually 7 tenths quicker than the guys ahead, but he's biding his time to get back towards the top 3. The top 2 are just about stretched away from Hamilton, who's watching on.
So what the teams
don't know until now, even though they've done
I think I
preseason
should
testing,
stop
how
eating.
does the car perform in race trim, in dirty air, with tailwinds as we've got into turn one on this day in history? So there'll be a process of finding. Here's the extra power from Russell. This time, he inches ahead, side by side. How much can Leclerc fight it? Not enough to hang on to it. George Russell retakes the lead again, and he's got by on lap 8.
But how much of his battery has he had to use at turn 3 when we've got this next run coming up? So George has thought, okay, Charles knows what he's doing, covering off the big stops. I'm going to have to use the juice somewhere else. Is he going to pay the price for that head?
Keep an eye on that rear wing. That red light flashing tells us that
But
he's no longer in full deployment.
by the way, I just apologize to Sophia, so I'm not gonna screw these up again because I do have.
Ferrari back to P1. So
I have.
the battery early. George
You know what? I don't want to talk about it.
position, hoped it would be enough. It wasn't enough, and even though the
I mean,
Mercedes
forget it.
is phenomenal, he does not have track position. And I tell you what, Charles Leclerc is playing his cards wonderfully right now. But I also, just look in the background, Lewis Hamilton, he's playing his cards. He's playing an observation card. He's like, okay, I'm feeling comfortable. You guys show me how you're going to race. And he's benching all that.
I'm not interested.
Banking all that, in his mind to be able to deploy it later.
You know, overtaking spot. Russell locks up. Doesn't need that. Just make the corner. Hangs onto it. And immediately back. Pass, repass.
I don't really watch Shrek movies.
Charles Leclerc takes it back from Russell. And he's looking for the inside. Russell can't get by for long enough. He can take track position, but he can't hold it. And now joining the battle, the 7-time champion of the world, Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, and has he flat spotted slightly the tyre? That was a long enough lock-up, in my opinion, to be able to pick up a bit of vibration from that.
That was so hairy on both sides. Russell with the braking. Leclerc, I thought he was about to oversteer that into the barriers on the exit of 2. You can see how dusty it was as he swept back around the Mercedes. Here we go to Speed Fields. Has anyone got something?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I just took a break. I just took a break playing games, GTA and online, GTA and Overwatch. I'm gonna play Fortnite later after the race.
Yeah, there's other numbers available. I guess the only one that he possibly couldn't overtake.
Let's see if George wins.
Tink at, what is it, 6? Tink at 5, excuse me.
That's the only odd number. He's got to try the evens next.
Russell having to play the waiting game. You can see what Charles Leclerc is doing because it's Leclerc, then Russell, then Hamilton, and it's turning into a four-way fight out front. Charles Leclerc playing the defensive game really well. George Russell trying to get opportunistic, trying to deploy more of the power. This year, the combustion engine and the electric power about 50-50. Last time that you went racing with us was about 20% electrical battery power available to the drivers. And how they use it is defining what is clear from qualifying to the fastest car right now. Can't take the race lead. It's not simple. You still have pit stops to come. Update on the 4-time world champion. Up to the points. Up to the points, and with the hard tyre, which is a long game decision.
Nicola's in the pit stop.
Safety car around here. So that suggests very much that
He's gonna fix his tires. He's fixing his tires, but oh no.
Within 15 seconds of the race lead. So we've just seen Antonelli now clamber onto the back of Hamilton, who's onto the back of Russell. Antonelli on the last lap was 2 seconds quicker than the race leaders. They're all having this dogfight out front, and it's meaning that they're not escaping really from anyone. Agile's a bit further back. The rest of it is a big train, as you can see with Max on the left-hand side. He's going to pick off Pierre Gasly next. On a different strategy, he is in for a decent result when he does something on the pit stops.
Yeah, you see there Verstappen just slipping through on the inside. So yeah, looking at this and looking at the sort of backing up of Hadjar into Lindblad, Verstappen has the potential based on that to get up into 5th place.
Could be more. Could be more. We haven't even got into safety car chances and everything else.
That is true, but which one of the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Mercs is he going to challenge?
It's lap 11. What a dramatic start to the season we have had. Charles Leclerc with the race lead from 4th on the grid. It was touted as possible, and he weaved his way to P1. George Russell has reclaimed the lead a couple of times, every single time repassed.
The driver from Monaco, have Hamilton in close proximity in third, Antonelli in fourth, and Tadjar and Lindblad
The world champion behind him. Unbelievable start.
Oh, problem for Hadjar. Problem for Isaac Hadjar. Dropping down the order. The man who had his best ever day
What?
in Formula One qualifying yesterday is out of the Grand Prix.
I know, I know.
We'll find out exactly soon, but it looks like engine.
Same thing? He did his. Are you serious, Isaac? Why would you do the same thing like Max?
We have
Oh,
become
I'm so
through
sorry.
reliability
I
in
wasn't
Formula
paying
One in
attention.
recent times. That is out of the window, into the new rules. And Red Bull have built their own power
I'm
unit
sorry.
in conjunction with Ford.
Box,
Lando Norris
box.
is called into the pits immediately. Will he be the only one? It doesn't look like it.
The top four went past just as the VSC was deployed, so they'll have to wait a lap, and Hadjar's partner perfectly for the Marshals to push it back in and we'll have a short VSC. So, as last year, you said about 10 seconds by pitting under the virtual safety car. I'm sure it won't be the last one we get in the race with the attrition rate so far.
Yeah, honest Lucas, Lindblad, Verstappen, German, Bortoleto.
Norris was getting frustrated as well behind Lindblad, so you will get a little bit of clear air. Lawson pits as well. He was
I'll be right back.
towards the back.
the speed. Norris now on the hard side.
I know.
So Norris now finds himself past Esteban Ocon, and that is for Kino. So what can Antonelli do relative to Max Verstappen? We'll keep you updated on the gap to the leader as well for Jordan Russell. Does Russell now hammer in the advantage? Now he's got that clear air that he's been denied for the majority of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, just to answer that, he's gone past the ball by half a second in the first sector. So that's evidence. Yeah, that's a yes. Yeah, I'll give you the short answer. Yes. That's a 10-second behind. Out there in 10 seconds. So far we are on plan. We are focusing on plan A, plan A.
Okay, so if Ferrari pit now, they'll come out well behind the Mercedes, but the plan in theory for this race is a one stop. The degradation is pretty low. Mercedes have got a long way to go on the hard tyres.
Still on board with Kimi Antonelli. He's 19-year-old from Italy. His second season of Formula One, and he's right. On the way up to P4, he gets past Armstrong.
For the second time this race, Antonelli clears the Racing Bulls. Lindblad still in a fight with Norris and with Verstappen, really. He's not going to come back, is he?
Now, it's interesting as he pulled up alongside with that extra power, lifting off as you go alongside, rather than continuing all the way, because you want to harvest as much as you can immediately in the braking or that lifting course phase of the entry.
So plan A confirmed for Charles Leclerc as well. Russell was a second quicker on the last lap than both Ferraris. He will eat into that gap quickly. Ferrari are going to have to hope that they're onto a two-stop now with that early stop.
Bottom left of your picture is Liam Lawson trying to go around the outside of Sergio Perez. Cadillac, side by side with Racing Bulls, and Lawson has to use all the AstroTurf and a bit more. Cadillac running P14 in their first ever Grand Prix.
I'm getting flashbacks to 2024 with those two still dueling it. This time Perez in a Cadillac. I didn't think they'd be fighting on track today, but he's having fun. Sergio Perez, Cadillac just happy to be competing, having started a brand new team for this year.
Yeah, racing drivers, not memories.
And we certainly saw that on the Apex of number 3.
Okay, Max Verstappen would have been hoping to come through to that 8th position. That would have been the aim. Well, we've had Piastri out, we've had his teammate out, he's in 6th position. So the work that he expected potentially to be a whole Grand Prix work completed already. And now he's chipping away at what will surely not be a difficult battle like we saw before with Armin Lindbergh, and you do hear this from the drivers. We heard from Ollie Ben, who's running the Netherlands as car. He was fighting Max Verstappen. He's like, I can't believe we're fighting Max Verstappen in his rookie season. First race, Armin Lindbergh's going to have that sensation.
He was out of shape coming out of turn 4 there. That looked like it was almost a Piastri moment on the way to the grid. The way that these cars, they are snappy on the exits. They have so much torque. The instant power as you put your right foot down is a lot. That's left him slightly down towards the clutches of Verstappen.
So overtake mode within 1 second of the car in front of you. No longer DRS like we've had for a decade in Formula 1. Overtake mode, if you have the battery power, it will give you more of it and try and help the driver to get by. But you've got to balance that, and you can see under braking, battery recharging both from start.
Yeah, but massively powerful. The amount of energy that's been pushed back into that battery in the braking phase is one of the real management tools of the season.
If you didn't recharge the battery, you'd effectively go through the whole lot before you get to turn 3. That's how important it is to recharge. Now, overtake is available for Verstappen. He's within 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
We'll give him a little bit more battery to use for longer on the straights. We'll have a higher top speed. We've seen that already with Russell chasing Leclerc. It'll happen all the way around the lap on the straights.
Hey, what's up?
Got multiple detection points like we had in the past. It is just round the final corner of the race.
He's waiting for turn 6 in towards turn 9, the left side drive swing.
Old friends reunited, side by side. Lawson, Perez, trying to get by the Racing Bulls, trying to go around the outside of the Cadillac. No driver in Formula 1 is going to allow you to do that.
Well, look, I was questioning whether Checo would be a bit rusty, but he's not showing any lack of fight.
Well, it feels like Bottas comes to a stop. We were watching Checo with the other Cadillac. Lawson did get by into turn 11, and then we cut to the Cadillac of Valtteri Bottas. The 10-time Grand Prix winner is out of the Grand Prix. Lap 18.
Check his
Now
notifications.
Bottas, Alonso, Hadjar, Piastri, and Hulkenberg, who have retired. And the Ferraris are going past our commentary box.
Yeah, I think the virtual came out just as they got past again, so that took away that early choice. Let's look at the others that can maybe take an opportunity from it.
This is what Ferrari were kind of waiting for. The reliability is very, very difficult with these new cars. Plenty of cars peeling in. Oh,
I couldn't press the video since I'm gonna lose this audio, so I'm gonna use it on my laptop.
Verstappen looking for any advantage that he can get as he's called in to make his stop. Lindblad's first pit stop.
Don't worry, I still have my Apple TV right here.
Let's see who wins the race to get back into the fast lane. Now they had to hold him. And Lindblad back ahead, keeping track position, crucially, Verstappen out ahead of Oliver Ben.
Yeah, well, that is the moment when the team really shows the teamwork in this digital world. It's one of the most analog moments. 20 people descending on the car to change those wheels and tyres.
That was experience versus a rookie on the way into the pits as well. I think Verstappen knowing exactly how hard you could push as you pull in. And Lindblad being a bit cautious there. Max having to just wait until they got to the pit limiter. Good stop though, and that's another big hurdle done for Arvid Lindblad. He's been jumped by Norris though. That's Norris now ahead of
This video is peak.
Norris at the earlier stop. If Leclerc stops, it'll be nip and tuck with Antonelli. Russell will inherit the race lead if the Ferrari stop. Hamilton will come out behind Antonelli. So they haven't got the gap, and they wouldn't have a massive offset in tyre life either. It's 6 laps. So that's the debate now for Ferrari. Is that enough of a window to go to the end, or do they wait for another VSC in a much nicer pit window? But they're not going to go to pit anyway.
Pit entry is now being closed because they've got to recover the Cadillac from the inside. It's a temporary facility, this. There you go. That's why it's been closed. You cannot risk cars coming in that proximate to the marshals.
Look, the only stuff sure is so again, as we go on board, I don't think we're going to have much longer of the virtual safety car.
And if Ferrari were planning on pitting, that's a disaster because they missed the chance for the timing and then they missed the chance for the closure of the pits.
Locked up for them.
The engine's still running, but it's like he lost hydraulic for the gearbox, so it's just locked on the axle.
He absolutely adores Australia. And it's not been the easiest weekend for Cadillac. We've been doing a lot of learning in their first Grand Prix, but a lovely reception for the 10-time Grand Prix winner. He is out. He's not the only one. Green flag racing once again. Good anticipation for Max Verstappen. Defending from Arvid Lindblad. And he stays ahead of the 4-time world champion.
Well, look, this kid is just, and apologies, that's disrespectful in a way, call him a kid. He's a kid relative to my age, but he is just showing his stripes, showing his fighting mettle, and not fazed at all by Max Verstappen.
He is borderline, isn't he? 18 years old.
Their 4th youngest all time in the history of Formula 1 championship began in 1950.
I forgot one more comment. Post.
Going on behind as well. And here we go with Max Verstappen.
This kind of looks like Trevor.
This flat out section closing in. Still has access to overtake mode if he needs it. Can he go around the outside? Great defense on the restart for Arvid Lindblad. It's about to end. Sweeping by, taking the position. Max Verstappen back up to P6.
They've made the stop now and switch onto the medium tyres, which are a pretty handy set of tyres as well. It's a good compound. It's what the Ferraris are running consistently out front still. So now Verstappen can go hustling after Norris on his fresh tyres and get back towards that 5th place, which is the best of the rest at the moment.
My tyres are still okay, did not want to be the same tyre.
He doesn't want to be stacked. So there's clear instruction. This is what I was saying earlier. The team have strategy, of course they do, but you've got to be as the driver, you're the conductor of the orchestra, and he's made that quite clear to Lynn Charles. That would have been a delayed radio message from the virtual safety car. It is interesting that we're now 21 laps into this race, and it's only the Ferraris that have it pitting, absolutely committed to this one-stop strategy.
And there's a fight for supremacy as well, isn't there, within the teams? Vicious closing speed for Gasly.
Oh, he's going to make contact with Esteban Ocon. Gasly gets by. Ocon and Bortoleto were scrapping corner after corner. Bortoleto won that battle, and it's real banging on the way down to turn 3 as Gasly gets up to the points.
It looks like the car is intact, and well, they say rubbing is racing. Maybe not Formula 1 stance, but it happens occasionally.
And that 22 and 58, so Ferrari won 2, but they need to make pit stops. Mercedes came in under a virtual safety car earlier on. They are running 3 and 4. Lando Norris is 4.8 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen, who started on the hard tyre and switched to a medium. Glorious day for motor racing here at Albert Park, where the track temperature is 35 degrees and the air temperature is 24. As we get the first round of the season up and running, George Russell has the fastest lap of the Grand Prix to 1:22.6. 7/10 quicker than Leclerc on the last lap. That was Charles' best lap of the race, though, so his tyres are still in and working, as we heard from Lewis Hamilton as well. Lewis will soon have a job to do as well for the team. If he can hold George Russell back, as we saw Leclerc do earlier on in the race, then that's going to start using George's tyres a bit more. That's going to start overheating them. And if they're borderline at 1 or needing to pit again, it'll just buy Ferrari a little bit more time and some options with the pit stop phase. And they must still pit.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is very inconsistent lap times, depending on whether they are attacking, defending, and then this sort of switching corner for corner. So there's no question that we're seeing more variability in the lap times itself. It's not that how fast can you get from lights out to checkered flag? Well, it's still going to be that, but in terms of the wheel-to-wheel racing, we're seeing a lot of compromises.
Sergio Perez heading off the throttle, letting Charles Leclerc go by, responding to the instruction and down there.
So overall, this is incredibly impressive outright for Ferrari. They were so disappointed yesterday to not be in the top 3 in qualifying. Both drivers thought that if they nailed it perfectly, they could have just about beaten Agile, but they were perplexed that they were so far away from the Mercedes, and it was 8 tenths that Russell had on anyone that wasn't his teammate. It's not that in race trim. In race trim, obviously the starts are their own thing, and that's what's gave us this position. But outright race pace, they're closer. Remember, Russell is on 12 laps fresher tyres. He is quicker, but only by half a second on the last lap. It's not night and day like it was yesterday.
Yeah, Ferrari were really unhappy as a team with how they executed their qualifying session. Basically, they felt they left a load of time on the table. In race pace, they are competitive. They're on for a 1-2, but they do need to make pit stops. Oscar Piastri speaking to the world's media. Disappointing day for him, and still incredible start of having no Australian driver on the podium here in the World Championship era. Brilliant drivers like Weber, Ricciardo and Piastri still can't find their way to the Okay, Ferrari have an advantage over George Russell. The danger man is now 4.1 seconds away. He is clearing the sole remaining Cadillac in the race, which is Sergio Perez, Mexican driver, 6-time Grand Prix winner, back in Formula One, having missed last year.
Yeah, both the Mercedes running significantly quicker, in the case of Russell, half a second than Leclerc and Hamilton. And then that's 8 tenths of a second if you go to Antonelli. So both those Mercs are now getting themselves into the hunting zone of the Ferraris. So Hamilton at the moment managing his pace relative to Leclerc. But anytime soon, he's going to start seeing that Mercedes in his mirrors.
Yeah, right now the race is in the balance. The Ferraris are being caught by the Mercedes of George Russell. Actually, he's done the fastest lap on the last lap as well and is closing in. A full safety car, they'll pit for fresh tyres and they'll be right with the Mercedes, and the race will be back in their hands. And given the attrition rate, how many cars we've lost already? 5 out.
And so how far does Lance Stroll go? Because earlier in the week, Aston Martin was saying lap 25 was about the maximum, and that could play a massive part in the destination of the Grand Prix, because they run that to the absolute maximum. It's not a case of what we saw with Fernando Alonso, just coming back by choice to a trial car.
Yeah, well, it's Grand Prix racing. One way to develop that product is to go the distance. We know that Alonso had an issue, but so far Stroll is out there collecting data, getting mileage, getting all that information real time back to Honda, and they'll be working to try and find solutions round the clock under a budget cap, of course, which is one of the challenges of not getting it right straight from the beginning.
Hamilton lost a lot of pace on the last lap. You can see it there on the graphic. Russell took a good chunk, 8 tenths out of him. Didn't take much out of Leclerc.
Down to turn 3, there's a few laps ago. Pierre Gasly later.
So close to my number 9. Oh! Oh, he almost crashed.
But under investigation.
Let's just try and
Holy moly. That was close.
That contact was made. It's still largely speaking in place, but it seemed to me there's no question that Ocon knew he was alongside, as Ferrari have now decided this is the moment.
Well, that's the call. I don't feel that they can go any further. You ideally would run this as far as possible and hope for a virtual safety car or a safety car. They're going to get neither, and they're going to sacrifice the lead. Charles Leclerc has been called to the pit lane.
Well, that surprises me. That surprises me a lot. Any deal, so the race leader's coming in. There's going to be a full 19-second stop. He's going to come out well behind Antonelli, and they lose any chance of benefiting under another safety car. Given we've already had a couple, you think, can you hang on? The pace was okay.
Well, we will find
20
out
seconds for the
in
pit
remaining
stop.
laps whether this
Oh,
is
that's 2 seconds.
better or it
That
works
was the
well,
quickest
brilliant
one.
for them. But armed with the information we have now, plus 2 virtual safety cars, this is very peculiar.
Yeah. It seems like that is exactly what Mercedes would want. A full racing speed pit stop for Ferrari, out of the race lead. He's now miles behind both Mercedes, and any safety car now, Russell can pick and come out ahead and be on pressure tyres.
And in all consideration, when you've got the teams that did the fewest laps in testing, Cadillac, Aston Martin, Alonso's gone back out, they're going to fix them, they're coming back out. When they're all still running, there is a big opportunity on the evidence of 9
I'm gonna check my
days of
channels
racing
and
testing for those cars.
I'm gonna end the stream later until everything's done.
They had the track position. They still do with Hamilton. But until Russell is right with you or overtaking you, keep the track position. Hold George back, make him use his tyres to come through. That has worked out perfectly for Russell. Hamilton now has the race lead. What will he do?
Yeah, he's staying out, but on those old tyres, he's running consistently, and he has them between half a second and 8/10 slower than George Russell. And with the tools they have at the disposal, how can he defend it the way that he could in the previous formula?
Let's have a look at Lewis Hamilton's tyres. With so many new elements to Formula One in 2026, we've barely talked about the strategy. You can see serious wear front left for Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, his times were dropping away a little bit more than Charles Leclerc's as well. So Hamilton stayed out. He wanted the split strategy, didn't he? And he's got it. Of course, Ferrari had to pit, but when we've had so many cars dropping out, so many safety cars, and they have the track position, is it worth sacrificing the race lead and that for a new racing speed pit stop? Mercedes now 1 second away from the race lead with George.
Well, the answer to that question, is no. It wasn't one. But, well, let's see. A lot of laps still to be done, but Hamilton cannot be in the best of shape with those medium tyres. We've heard the drivers complain less about drop-off in performance.
Hang
Hang
on.
This track, this formula, but that is a lot of laps on those tyres.
It is indeed the old teammates. Lewis Hamilton, George
I don't think I
Russell,
could share my
Hamilton
clothes.
last year, moving to Ferrari. This is the start of his second season. And Hamilton coming off the back of a season where there was no front row start, no pole position, there was no podium, there was a single sprint win in China. And Ferrari in a much better place than they were. If you consider that the majority of the laps they led last year was the Hungarian Grand Prix in the middle of the season. There are plenty of laps today, but getting your strategy right has proved key, even with all of these new series in Formula 1 for this year. It still appears that could be defining for the Scuderia.
Russell has overtake available then, and he's going to use it. He's going to use it to full effect. Hamilton recharging the battery, going really slow in towards turn 6. But is it enough to stop the Mercedes? Full beams, a little bit more available to it.
On board with Lewis Hamilton, this flat-out section. George Russell looking for the inside and not being given away by until now. George Russell has had to wait his turn. George Russell back into the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. And Ferrari, who held a 1-2, see Mercedes hit the front again.
30 laps to go.
Just the nature of the curvature that takes you up to turn 9. So it came into that mode a bit earlier than you would have liked with Hamilton.
And same goes to my batteries.
Hamilton went for the normal race line.
We have that same number.
And now Hamilton pits. So losing the track position, not able to hold Russell up by enough. Hamilton will pit and come out behind Leclerc.
So into the pits comes Lewis Hamilton. It's Russell Antonelli Hamilton and Leclerc, but Leclerc will go through, and he claims his spot on the podium.
What sort of pace can the Ferraris do now? They'll have pressure tyres by 13 laps over the Mercedes. All the Mercedes need to fit again.
Okay, I think the one stop is viable.
Okay. Loves a long-ranging one-stop, doesn't he?
Always has. The cars being weighed this year without the weight of the tyres.
I guess the thing is as well, if he's feeling comfortable with the deck as it sits right now, fuel's going to continue to burn down. That's less maybe of an overall effect this year. But he can afford to wait to see is another safety car or virtual safety car.
Oh, should I see smoke?
We look up the Lindblad as we watch from Ollie Verman's point of view down towards turn 3. So this is a fight for what is technically the best of the rest behind the big four teams, both having really good races. Lindblad, the star of the opening lap. Verman just plugging away at it. He's made a pit stop.
These names are definitely the future of Formula One. Young guys familiar with competing against each other in the lower formulas and firmly in the points here.
Why are you?
Bortoletto in the Audi. I know it's the Sauber team rebranded, but that would be quite nice for that team if they were to score points on debut.
Of course, for Ferrari, they didn't get the chance to pit at the second virtual safety car, which would have been a better decision. They were just round it, and then the pit lane closed, so it was a nightmare scenario for them strategically at that point.
Yeah, but you can only use the options available to you. That wasn't an option. The first one was.
Yeah.
Alex Albon gets past his teammate Carlos Sainz. He's up to P12, and that wasn't a contest at all. Rocket ship pass for the Thai driver, trying to score his first points today since the Italian Grand Prix last year in September. Albon currently running in 12th. Gasly being investigated for his overtake on Esteban Ocon.
Alex going to pay out a point at the moment. It started well out of the top 10, actually 14th on the grid, off on 13th, but taking advantage of others. Not necessarily slowly is now going to be investigated after the race. So I'm assuming that's to try and recharge the battery, and he's done something a little bit strange. Was that when Gasly started to fire it up? Because it was a massive closing speed, wasn't it?
Yeah, of all the things that you can criticise for as a Grand Prix driver, driving slowly, it's got to hurt the most.
Unnecessarily slowly.
What are you doing now?
Yeah, I think Esteban might have quite a long reply to that as they learn the new deployment modes around the set.
I think we should note the fact that this is a journey of discovery, not only for the teams, the drivers, but also for the stewards who have, let's say, amended the rules of engagement, the racing rules, the interpretation of what is correct. They've been heavily influenced, of course, by those who know best, which are the race drivers themselves.
Yeah, the drivers basically want to more leniency. You can still get awarded penalty points, but it's the obviously unacceptable moments rather than lockups that kind of accidentally cause contact. That was all initiated by the controversial collision between Kimi Antonelli and Oscar Piastri back in Brazil last year. David Berman watching on. His son at the moment going well, running in 8th position. Haas would be delighted with that. They were happy with the way that they ran in qualifying. But all the teams are aware that they're still discovering with every lap that they run how best to operate these cars. Here's the world champion, Lando Norris, 35th champion of the world. He finds himself so McLaren in the race after Oscar Piastri hit the wall on the reconnaissance lap. George Russell saying it feels windy out there. Up to 25 kilometers per hour being reported to him on the radio by his race engineer Marcus Coe.
It's, I would say, a little bit surprising. Let's say the race of Russell McLaren somehow felt that they were a little bit more in the hunt. Really see where it wasn't a major issue for.
Just posted a new video because Joseph won the Phoenix.
That Mercedes engine strapped to the McLaren that the main Mercedes Grand Prix team on.
There's a big gap, isn't there, between the Mercedes performance and the McLaren performance with the same power unit. So the Mercedes are just able to extract a huge amount more from it.
Yeah, in fairness, that was the opposite, of course, in the previous formula. McLaren getting much more out of the Mercedes power unit than the works team.
That was more on the chassis side. You know, great wind tunnel development, getting all those aerodynamic surfaces working well. The ground effect era, they understood it perfectly. There is no ground effect on these cars now. The aerodynamics is still working from the underside of the car, but it's a lot more dependent on the wings as well. And Mercedes always got a good
Lap 33.
maximising their energy deployment as well.
Russell, Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton,
This
and in
isn't
this
one.
battle that was a 4-second gap. It's now 1.6 seconds. Verstappen closes in on Norris.
We were thinking of going to the end. Let's know what you think about tyres.
That's gonna be played.
Can you copy? We'll monitor.
Maybe give me a different strategy to my teammate out front. And if his tyres fail, who knows? I might win the Grand Prix.
It's been going quickly for the last few laps. Just a little bit quicker than Russell out front. Maybe using more tyres as a result. And Russell playing the long game there. That's what Ferrari want to hear. They want to hear that Mercedes are going to have to pit again. And that'll bring them into play. Okay, it's half a second quicker on the last lap than Russell as well.
I think if I was Antonelli, I wouldn't be giving up that track position for the tyres. If he can make them last.
Could you do 26 laps on a engine?
No, not at this rate, because I just went tyres after 10.
Lando giving the game away. Useful for us, but 10 laps until they're discovering what the tyre wear is. The tyres are thinner. So this year the cars are shorter, they are lighter, they are narrower, more dynamic if you're watching by the side of the track. New era in Formula One, but still, keeping your tyres in the window for as long as possible is absolutely key. Lando Norris not happy with the degradation of his parameters.
He's chewing through them really quickly. More than McLaren were expecting, I think. Verstappen within a second, so once again he'll get overtaking Navel, which will allow him to deploy his battery power for longer down the straights, and he'll get that everywhere. That begins down towards turn 3.
Virtual safety car. The virtual safety car is deployed, and we will get the information of why that is required.
What is that thing down there?
Well, we've seen a bit of wheel banging with at least 4 cars in the
That
field.
must be a wing.
Barge board just come off. There are long pieces like a stay that comes from the side of the chassis. Yeah, it's indeed.
Great marshals at that point of the circuit. Yeah, with the virtual
Someone
safety
might
car.
actually benefit from it.
You can see it for the drivers.
The marshals can't enter the track without the permission of race control. So race control would have said that's okay. And there is the barge board of the Cadillac. Thrown from the
What the heck?
They'll want that back. They probably don't have any spares.
So that's ending. It's ending very, very quickly because of the marshal recovering it. So anticipation time, big flag flies at Albert Park once again. Facing his 29th Australian Grand Prix today. Lando Norris ahead of Max Verstappen, but it doesn't look likely to stay that way. He has a look. There's no need to take any bold, late-breaking move to the inside of 11. Those medium tyres on the Red Bull working a lot better than the hard tyres for Lando Norris. And the driver who started in 20th place is looking now at 5th. A superb recovery drive for Max Verstappen as Lando Norris comes in to change tyres.
Again, medium tyres that he didn't want then for not 26 laps, 24 laps to try and do. There you go then. Eke out another couple on a short set of hards instead.
Yeah, it always tends to be the case that tyres and in your sort of prediction of how long they'll go, as the track rubbers in, as a Grand Prix distance increases, the tyre wear tends to become more in your favour. So he may not have been loving it, but I suspect he'll be able to take those to the end.
So Antonelli lost out by about a second in that VSC compared to Russell. Was just getting the gap down slightly. Neither Mercedes had the chance to pit under the VSC. It ended just as George was coming around the penultimate corner. So I think they probably would have taken that chance were they afforded it. It would have given Charles Leclerc the race lead again, but Russell with much fresher tyres to go and hunt him down to get to the end of the race. Antonelli had Albon in the way of that VSC restart. You can see him in the background there. He's now cleared Alex Albon. So a little bit of time to his teammate.
Okay, first race of the new regulations, so reliability cannot be guaranteed at all. Fernando Alonso is back in the pits. They repaired things, they put him back out there. But Stroll continuing to run for Aston Martin, beyond what they thought was possible at the start of the weekend. He's at the back, Perez and Sainz. Sainz has lost a lot of running this weekend in mechanical issues. They've really been struggling. Lawson's had some real banging moments with Sergio Perez. Paula Pinto was given a penalty for a start infringement. We saw he was slow off the line on the formation map. He was penalised for it. Alex Albon finds himself in 12th position. Good battling with Gabriel Bortoleto earlier on, so we're in the head of Gasly and Ocon.
What the heck?
The skip has unfolded. They have managed to jump him. Lando Norris unhappy with the tyre wear in position. He will still, though, have the grip to easily get past Berman. And will go on for Arvid Lindblad, who's trying to become a point scorer on debut, the 18-year-old. 15 seconds behind Max Verstappen, who starts in 20th position, has moved through to 5th in the order, and then the Ferraris versus the Mercedes to win the opening Grand Prix of the year. As we go down to the
Dang, he's almost at 200.
Russell, who chases Grand Prix win number 6 of his career. He's had to wait his turn, hasn't he? He for so long wanted to be promoted to the team, and Mercedes rattled off 8 constructors' titles in a row. He was waiting at Williams. In hindsight, Toto Wolff has said that maybe left him in Williams a year too long. But Mercedes this year, as so many predicted, have at the early stages created a car that is working so well with the new regulations.
Yeah, but he served his apprenticeship. He's been waiting for the moment when he got to Mercedes. Coincided with him dropping in form, so I don't think anyone would begrudge him his apprenticeship in Formula One to the point where the Grand Prix is already won, and then this seemingly long way to go, but seemingly the World Championship shot with this package.
He's in his stride now, isn't he? You can just
hear him coaxing it around, recharging in towards turn 9, which is where everyone's desperate for a little bit of energy harvesting, downshifting, reducing speed into that corner, just to keep the battery topped up and allow him to deploy it all evenly around the circuit. Charles Leclerc made a mistake on the last lap. He lost a second and a half. So he has dropped now away from
20 more laps to go.
Safety car window as well.
We are in lap 38.
Come out ahead of Leclerc. So this is looking
It said
very
20
good
laps
for
to go.
Mercedes, as soon as they got the clear air, you wondered whether they would be able to show what they have done for the majority of the weekend. Their superior pace is telling at the moment. The team that last year won just 2 Grand Prix, both with George Russell, very much expected to beat that time in Formula 1 2026. We said that Lando Norris would catch Oliver Behrman quickly. He has done so. This is ready for turn 12. This is 13. Final corner of the racetrack is directly ahead. Norris will know that if he's going to defend his title, he will need what McLaren have shown so well in recent times, a rapid rate of development. Remember, they're a customer Mercedes teams. They have a Mercedes power unit, but they do not get the latest specifications until this weekend, and they have it pre-season testing. Mercedes has developed that, they fully understand it. McLaren will be going through a process of understanding the power unit and how to deploy the energy throughout. Easy move for Norris, who moves up to P7.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? As a customer team, then well, you are customer but competitor. Mercedes Grand Prix, you take a small pride as you losing speed and then squeezing speed into turn 9, and you can see that only one of the lights in that mode is working, unless, Julian, that's a particular signal, because it comes on late as it goes into super clipping. Both of them are in place. Normally you'd have the 2 warning lights deploying nameplates at the same time, but it's almost like they're showing different harvesting.
So it's Russell Antonelli, then Leclerc and Hamilton. Gasly is able to get up to 9th position. Sainz fighting as well. And Sainz had a really difficult time in Australia, a race where he has won in the past in 2024, but unfortunately the Spanish driver really struggling. He has got at least some racing action ahead of him. Talking of racing action, another pass for Lando Norris, who reclaimed 6th position and has made light work But Behrman, Lindblad still on for a point-scoring finish. But Behrman will want to put big pressure on immediately. Here's Gabriel Bortoleto, the second season of Formula One. He's able to get past Esteban Ocon. These three have been battling lap after lap after lap. It's Gasly with the advantage at the moment. Bortoleto up to 10th, and Ocon will try and...
Australian people can see the Audi.
Bortoleto might be able to pass both of them. He's on fresher tyres, having a great run in the Audi. And the team will be so chuffed with how they're starting life in Formula One to be looking at some points. Exciting with the other Audi.
28 to go.
Let's see then if Bortoleto with overtake available. Gasly maybe a little bit vulnerable. As Gabriel Bortoleto got more in the tank.
Audi's first Grand Prix in Formula One, the old Sauber team. That name is no more. Audi, who have built their own power unit as well. Not the easiest thing to do with complex regulation. But they are running one car. Bortoleto very, very pleased to reach Q3 yesterday. Was able to compete in it because he had an issue. But he was all over the back of Gasly. Further up the order, this is the battle between Oliver Behrman and Arvid Lindblad. And Oliver Behrman, oh, that was a great shot. Behrman saw it coming. Behrman takes the place.
Well, Lindblad is definitely not shy of being, let's see, aggressively defensive. He's coming back.
He uses the boost to get by. You can't use too much of your battery power without paying for it back. Flat out run from 6 to turn 9, and it wasn't enough. And through goes Oliver Behrman. You see, changing speeds there. Colapinto recharging the battery into turn 9. Sainz had momentum, had to back out of it when he was looking for an overtake. And now Sainz, bottom left of your picture, is trying to go around the outside. Still unable to get by. Colapinto holds the place.
Sainz desperately down on miles. Here we go with Lindblad trying to get back on Behrman.
How much is he prepared to drain to the battery to take back the place? That's brave from Oliver Behrman. Kept his foot in. And Lindblad went to the dirty, dusty part of the racetrack, but crucially kept it on the road.
Oh, we felt that, Julian, didn't we? Out there, it's a different level of adhesion, and not in a good way.
Yeah, it's dusty, dirty, and you're carrying a lot of speed in. I have to say, that's really impressive from Behrman. So he's used the energy from his battery to make the pass. He's then been vulnerable for the rest of the lap. But he's basically used old-school racecraft to keep Lindblad behind, breaking late into the corners, shuffling into the outside. Really, really tidy stuff. And he takes the place for now.
Yeah, this is, like you were explaining it, Alex, this sort of difference you can get when one is in harvesting mode, the other one is still using a bit more deployment. And it's tough for the drivers to deal with this big difference in closing speed that you would never have seen in any other formula.
Yeah, this is totally new. There's no precedent for this for any of the drivers. Their journey up through the ranks. And the swapping continues. Ocon is ahead of his battle. Then it's Gasly. Now it is Gabriel Bortoleto. Bortoleto, 5 times the point score. Rookie season. Love to get up and running inside the top 10. The start of his second campaign. Rookie wave that came through last year. They all had a brilliant run across the board.
Let's try it one more time.
Pleading to have a battle. No, I know I've got to keep the battery in check, and I know I've got to have it, but I want to try and fight Oliver Behrman. And Behrman making a 1-second break for it. It's squirming all over the road as he applied the power. Into the pits comes Max Verstappen.
Interesting. As he got the halves on, which given we're getting towards the lighter phase of this race, he's going to come out there behind Lando Norris.
So they're in their scrap for 5th place. A little bit too far away. Well, remember, Max started from the back of the field, so 5th place would be a solid result for him. Lando started in 5th by the time his teammate didn't take a race start. So Verstappen on fresh tyres. The hards he can really lean on. The mediums, they are graining a little bit. We heard Norris's feedback on that. Verstappen dealt with them a lot better, but with his earlier VSC stop, so he'll go hunting now. And he looks like he's just happier with the Red Bull package than Norris is with the McLaren package. So not the most comfortable of weekends. The reigning champ back to Melbourne, seemed a great win for him last year. But it started with a lack of mileage in FP1, and I feel like he's never really caught up. pole position and the win 1 year ago.
15.
For Lando Norris, fifth behind the Mercedes and the Ferrari. Last time around, Lewis Hamilton was 2/10 of a second quicker than Charles Leclerc. Very even pace between the Mercedes out front, who are looking to claim what slipped through their fingers in the early stages of the race. When they were both slow off the line, Charles Leclerc was able to pick his way through, and then he found a 7th place at one point. Both drivers have kept their heads and cycled through. 6 seconds between George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. Russell looking for just the 6th win in Formula One. Antonelli would be the 2nd youngest winner in Formula One history. Who is to climb to the top step. Russell looks like he's got one hand on the trophy. With these new rules, though, you never know until the last lap. Pierre Gasly, entertaining battle with Gabriel Bortoleto with Esteban Ocon, using all of the curb and a bit more through turn number 5.
Fast corner, of course, and run it out. That's one of the most sort of street feeling elements of this racetrack. You make a mistake there, and you will be having a rendezvous with the wall in no time at all.
5 straight zones around this racetrack. There's no DRS in Formula One anymore, but we do have active aero because quicker in a straight line, you can deploy it, you get it every lap, no matter where you are, every car, every lap. 5 zones around the racetrack. And this is one of them. The high speed still has close proximity.
The video is done.
At the moment.
I'll post it up. I mean, I'll go edit it later. After this race.
Difficult end of Formula One in 2025. Did score the final Grand Prix of the year. Laid on the brakes, but not risking it into 11.
Well, these two have form, don't they? So we've seen them touch once. This could be getting up close to personal.
Verstappen's just done the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's done a 1:22.0. And he's home in again on Lando Norris in the past before his pit stop. They've been happening for years as well. They have been entertaining us out front for a long time. This time it's for 5th place as the pecking order's shifted. I'm overall pretty encouraged by Ferrari. I think they've been a bit outgunned on strategy today. I would have liked to see them do something a little bit different to make Mercedes work for this a bit more. Even if they split the cars, as Hamilton suggested in the first VSC, I felt they had to do something to try and keep the Mercedes behind. But in terms of pace, they're much closer than I think anyone expected. Mercedes got a small advantage still, but this is nowhere near the golf that we saw yesterday. And I think this circuit really suits Mercedes in terms of having long straight, massive deployment and recharging. This is the track that's going to exacerbate all of racing in this new generation of rules. There will be some circuits coming up where energy harvesting won't be anywhere near the problem that it is around here. You haven't got big braking zones. You've got, for example, here, as we see Max hit the brakes, bring it straight back to throttle. You're deploying energy. There's not enough big braking zones to get that regen going, so you don't have to be lifting on the straights. And that's where Mercedes have a massive advantage. Ferrari will be more competitive, and I think they're in this fight this year.
Verstappen is pushing hard. He knows now's his best chance on you.
Yeah, he's been pushing on, as you mentioned there. Alex getting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
Agreed.
Like just picking up on that, Julian. The first 3 Grand Prix, we go to Shanghai next and then into Suzuka. They're all long, high-speed circuits with limited sort of regen areas. So this might be a sort of scene setter for those first couple of Grand Prix before we get into tracks that are more favourable.
Yeah, I mean, Bahrain for testing was much more regular. The energy charging was nowhere near as severe, and Ferrari were really competitive. I know it was testing, trying to read into it is always difficult, but they were so happy with the car there, and really disappointed yesterday, but in the race trim it already looks better. Shanghai will be a
12 to go.
The walking back straight, we're just going to see a lot of harvesting towards the end of it. But apart from that, it'll be a bit easier with some bigger braking zones throughout the rest of the lap. And that's really what you need to try and get some energy back into the battery without the cars having to slow on the straight.
Verstappen running that lap just a little bit quicker than Norris, so chipping away at that gap. will be get the extra boost getting in that 1 second window. So does Norris have anything? Tyres, we know, are relatively fresh.
11.
Have made 2 stops.
On board with Esteban, Ocon on the left-hand side of your picture. Full frame, we're watching Max Verstappen was down both drivers, part of the Champions Club after last year. Separated by 1.2 seconds on track. The end of the World Championship, we were separated by just 2 points. Verstappen fell just short of a comeback of all comebacks in Formula One. Norris has been given encouragement by Will Joseph on the radio, and given that we saw it come down to 2 points last year against all expectations, where McLaren looked dominant at the start of the year, it's a lesson to underline. It is a long way to Abu Dhabi. The development race is going to be something special. This car's going to take a big leap forward as we make our way through the season, but ultimately, any rules of racing apply. You want to get past the driver in front of Verstappen, who's now within 1 second.
Hard versus mediums. You mentioned earlier, Julian, that Verstappen just seems more comfortable in those hards. He can be more aggressive in the way he drives the car in the corners.
Yeah, 7 laps fresher his hards than Norris's mediums. We saw that to his detriment yesterday. The aggression that he can have on corner entries and his driving style really working hard to get the brakes, get that front end in. Yesterday,
10 more to go.
Get a big rear lock on the edge of a big brake and a load of extra from the rear, obviously sends him into the wall. But generally, his style is fairly well
Should I accidentally pressed it?
Obviously not with the overall performance of the Mercedes and the Ferrari. He's going to have a chance from here. Harvesting for Norris down in towards turn 11. Verstappen getting closer, and on the next lap they'll have no back markers ahead. So they've cleared Colapinto, they've cleared Sainz, who peeled into the pits. Verstappen will have a clear run now on Norris. Around the final corner as we begin another lap of this 3.2-mile circuit. And we can see the McLaren team watching on. Norris clings onto it. That's what they're fighting for. A replica of Jack Brabham's steering wheel. 3-time world champion. Still Australia's most successful driver for Formula One and the benchmark for all hopefuls making their way through from go-karting to the Formula One.
Looks like Verstappen is now just getting in that window, wants to be close as they come out turn 6, and then he'll have that run to try and overtake the 4-9. Get a popular place in this new Formula One that we have.
The sound of the
9.
turbocharged engine. 50% coming. The electrical power of the battery. 9 and 10 now. Snapping ever closer. 11 can invite late break move.
So he has overtake available, which gives him the chance to use more energy for longer down the straight, whereas Norris has to harvest. This kind of gives you a big attack for a short time of deploying energy. But I don't think Max actually has anything more to offer at the moment. So he needs to recharge to be able to use that to overtake.
Yeah, you can see coming off the final corner, absolutely on the edge of adhesion. So a telltale sign that he's using everything he can out of that performance of the chassis to try and get himself into a window. This is, let's see, Red Bull powertrains against Mercedes power.
This lap looks better already for him in towards turns 1 and 3. So was he just waiting, harvesting a bit of energy that lap, even though he was allowed to use a little bit more, to go full tilt to Lando this time around? They're coming down towards turn 6, so we've got the long drag coming up. Has he got a little bit more to offer? Because that time he didn't have the closing speed at all.
Yeah, it looks like you see Lando is doing a great job of maintaining that gap where it counts. So Max is just way too far back to be able to take advantage on this lap.
Into 9 and 10 we go, the fast chicane.
Alright.
Made even faster.
Okay, now 8 to go. You heard me?
Further down that straight to make it a better overtaking opportunity. In your main picture, Lando Norris, an 11-time Grand Prix winner and 1-time world champion. Max Verstappen, 71 Grand Prix wins and a 4-time world champion, scrapping
over fifth place. Watching Kimi Antonelli, who are all the way got that down to 5.5. George Russell's responded. It's 5.8. Mercedes will be taking off the laps. And we're very hopeful of delivering a 1-2. A strange destination to get them back to the front. After a slow crawl off the line, so Charles Leclerc leading a number of laps against expectation today, given the advantage that we saw qualifying for the series. Qualifying one thing, the race quite another. And Max Verstappen looking, studying, understanding where the McLaren is recharging, and then thinking how he can do it differently, then enter in the driver's skill as well. When he really tries something towards the end, when he feels the need to risk it, and just play in sixth place. You know Max Verstappen could go for any gap that's on offer.
Yeah, he would get in where a draft wouldn't. He is super impressive when it comes to wheel. But you're going to see Lando doing a great job of neutralising him. These are the only two top six that have pitted for those extra tyres. Russell, Antonelli, two Ferraris, as we know, on this one stop as we get into the final stages of the Grand Prix. So let's just watch the body language of the Red Bull car. You really see that Max is hustling to try and get it as close as he can off the final corner, but the McLaren chassis is working well there.
Yeah, Max demanding a lot from the rear tyres there, slowing it down, using the rears a lot more into 13. Trying to keep this fitted through the final turn as well. Looks slightly closer this time around. Norris so far is doing a brilliant job at keeping it clean and making sure he's not vulnerable with a low battery, so he's able to keep that recharge high. Verstappen would hope that any missed apex, anything that goes wrong for the McLaren ahead will give him a chance to pounce. But so far, Lando is keeping it perfectly in check and making sure he drives sensibly as well. So Norris in fifth, Verstappen in sixth. The point scorers completed at the moment by Fairman Lindblad, who would be the point scorer on debut at just 18 years of age. Gabriel Bortoleto giving 5 first points in Formula 1, and Gasly and Ocon was separated by a second. It's gone up to 2.9. That's by the dropping back from that fight. Lawson's closing in on Alex Albon. Both of them out of the points at the moment. And still the closest one track is the one that you are looking at. Between the top two drivers in the world last.
There doesn't seem to be any concerns from Verstappen's side about running in slightly turbulent air. It's not going to enhance the downforce he has through the corners, but I'm saying it more for they don't seem to be temperature management limited. Imagine the huge amount of heat dissipation you've got to deal with when you're chucking in close to 500 horsepower and kilojoules into that battery.
7 up the book.
Keep pushing. Doing what?
Yeah, leave it to me. Thanks. Hamilton still wants a podium here. He's 2.7 seconds back from Leclerc, so that's what
right.
A bit of internal bragging rights and a chance to pop some champers in a few moments' time.
You've got to imagine that
I want to go.
the case out front, but even at 22.7, Antonelli at 22.6, Leclerc 22.9, Hamilton
Now 4.
Verstappen and Norris 22.5 and 22.6. That would, if you looked at it, you'd go Formula 1 is really close and competitive. Of course, we're looking at Norris and Verstappen 52 and 53 seconds behind Russell. Combination of that extra stop.
I think Russell's bringing it home right now. They seem to have won the first battle for 2026 because just stay reliable, and that's all that's going to derail Mercedes' charge. Interestingly for Verstappen, so we don't have DRS this year. Every time you see the rear wings opening, the front wings opening as well, and it's active aero. So Norris does it as well as Verstappen. It also means the cars run basically maximum downforce for the corners, and then they are minimum downforce for the straights. And it means the natural slipstream then is lower, because Norris has less drag. He'll open his rear wing and the front wing. There we go. And it means that there's less of a hole to be punched for Verstappen. So the natural slipstream effect is less. There's no DRS. So if you've not got the battery, you've not got more energy to deploy, you're stuck with a minimal slipstream. It's like Monza racing. Always.
Yeah, it's described perfectly. You used to get that benefit with DRS if you're huge amount of drag and downforce, of course, but it just gave you that overspeed.
3.
And what we're getting to understand as this race unfolds is how the cars can go racing. And right now, Lando is doing more than enough to hold the pace of Verstappen on those fresher tyres. The medium working well on the McLaren.
Yeah, that's why I think Verstappen had to go for the hard, because he is sliding around. The temperatures you were describing on everything in the Red Bull, sitting in that dirty air, but sliding around there is working the tyres harder as well. So going on the hards will keep them in check for longer. But the section of
Hannah
is
Schmidt.
just really low. Every time you look and see the natural closing speed that happens in all forms of motor racing and cycle racing and all of it, it's just reduced because of active aero. So I'm sure Max underneath the helmet will just be thinking, come on, give me something more here on the straight.
Yeah, and bicycles, it's about 30% energy you save if you're following somebody in front. So that's exactly where you'll find me when I go with the mammals, the fellow middle-aged men in Lycra.
You're not sitting on the front, these
all my days of punching a hole in the air, long behind.
And Charles Leclerc responding on the last lap, and he's battling his teammate to stand on the low step on the podium. And he was quicker on the last lap. Hamilton getting to that 3-second window. Leclerc just marking him off last time around. And Verstappen with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but now dropping that to 1.4 seconds. Wilson trying to close in on Alex Albon. One of our
Two.
top 10 score points in a Formula 1 Grand Prix.
I meant 3. I'm sorry. I made it wrong.
Only a quarter of a second off the fastest lap of the race, so that's why the gap's just elongated between those two. Was he holding back, saving those medium tyres he was worried about, and now he's thinking, few laps to go, let's send it.
It does feel now, only reliability can get in the way of this finishing order. We've learned a lot, haven't we, today? We've seen a lot of pass and repass early in this Grand Prix. Then it settled down. And then you see a little smirker smile from Toto. He's got it, it's back, isn't it? Mercedes is back. And you got to admire that when they were going through the difficult times, they kept the communication up. They kept, being honest and transparent. And, these big regulations have given them an opportunity to innovate.
How long has George Russell waited for this as well? 8 seasons of Formula 1 for George. It feels like he's not been around that long. Got into Mercedes at the end of their dominant period.
I think I'll lower down. I need to lower down my phone so that way my eyes won't get burned.
They weren't great at it. Suddenly they didn't have the best car, which they had at least the best.
2 more.
Very similar to the best car in 2021.
Yeah, let's see. Russia wins.
His chances had to be put on hold for a long time, but he has been driving at such a high level for a very long time. He's shown Toto Wolff and the management why he's been a great hire to replace Valtteri Bottas in 22. Now's his chance with a title-winning machine, and he has been on such good form this weekend.
Yeah, won in his first season with Mercedes in Brazil, straight fight with his teammate Lewis Hamilton that day, separating by less than 2 seconds across the line. And then in 2024, he picked up the pieces from Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, back wing, great win in Las Vegas last year. 2 wins, 1 in Canada and 1 in Singapore. But he's
Hello,
playing
Slapbot.
cameos in the overall
That's showing it.
That is about to change, and it's for all the world. Like Russell is going to get his first tilt at the title. Antonelli only 4.5 seconds away, though. The gap will be 7 points in the World Championship. If it finishes like this, George Russell never led the World Championship any stage of his career.
Yeah, he's just about to. And what is super impressive as well, is the pace of the top 6 cars. We've got Russell not far away from lapping Berman, who's in 7th place. It's very reminiscent of the sort of late 90s.
Let's get to the final lap.
It was regular for cars to be lapped.
Let's get to the final lap.
To the back end of the points.
One more.
Separating.
One more to go.
To the second row as well. Qualifying gaps a little bit bigger. It will close up, won't it, pretty quickly. The other thing I want to throw in there on the penultimate lap is I think Ferrari, they might actually be in this, in the title fight. I'm sure that's given a lot of people a lot of hope, but when you think how good their race start was, Hamilton genuinely was trying to look at the race
This is it.
7th on the grid.
Let's get to the final lap. Come on, guys, keep going. Let George to win. I'm not a fan of him, but I'm only a fan of Lando.
Strategy has won the day here for Mercedes. They
Stop
have
turning
the
off
best
my
car
phone.
as well. But we will go to racetracks, including China next week, where it will be hard to pass. Reliability will get better. There won't be as many safety cars. So if you have these rocket ships off the line taking the lead, they will get wins out of that, even if they don't have the outright pace.
Track position is going to be so important for the reasons that you just outlined there. As you Mercedes have been very, very conservative with their overall pace, considering it was the first race of the new regulation set, considering that they had multiple problems of unreliability in pre-season testing. And the gap is down to 3.9,
Here we go.
3.8 seconds.
Here we go.
But George Russell has got past some of the back markers.
It's gonna go.
Come across the line.
Let's take him. Let's take him out.
3.2 miles of the Australian Grand Prix. We're on the last lap.
All right.
Pushing into the back end of Charles Leclerc. This has been
I mean,
a much
got it.
stronger start to this campaign for Ferrari, and reassuringly a much stronger weekend for Lewis Hamilton than we saw last year. He's back.
And he will desperately be trying to force his teammate into a mistake, because he will not want to hear this podium stat over and over again. He hasn't been there for a long time, never with Ferrari in a Grand Prix. Can he force the error?
Nope.
Can he find a way by?
That's not true. I mean, that's true.
That seems to be claimed by Mercedes in a 1-2 finish. And the last time they did that in the season opener was back in 2019. They've had to wait for a return to the front, but Albert Park is going to give them one as they can complete the final few sectors, and now into the final corners. Third tier, a champion in the second tier, but he's had to wait for his chance for the title in Formula One. He's ticking off the final corners. George Russell now into the penultimate. The crowd will acclaim him once again, and the Mercedes man applauded across the line. The pre-season favourite begins with a win. George Russell wins the
Jackpot.
Australian Grand Prix. It's a Mercedes 1-2 in the season opener for the first time since 2019, but they do seem
Can't
to
believe
have
it.
a battle on their hands
It's been
with
7
Ferrari,
years, man.
who have led laps today, and they are separated across the line.
I'm gonna check his post.
Lewis Hamilton only 0.6 of a second behind. And it is Mercedes, Ferrari, smiles on the faces. I mean, he's almost laughing, Toto Wolff, the CEO and team principal of the team that have waited for their chance to fight for a title as well. Haven't taken a driver's title since 2020. Lando Norris is coming around the final corner now. Behrman was lapped. So is Arvid Lindblad, but Arvid Lindblad scores.
I'm a bitch. I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and I just shout out. I'm a bitch. I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and I just shout out. I'm a bitch.
Further up the road, the last cars that weren't lapped, Lando Norris stayed ahead of Max Verstappen. Slightly along the road back to the front, the second might expect. Off the line, not so great. By the flag, he won. P2. Here it comes.
Hang on.
Very nice, very nice. This car is great job.
Mercedes and George Russell take the opening win of the year. He was the picture of intensity when he got out of the car and wandered into the paddock this morning. Took a private route, didn't want to stop and be disturbed, and he wanted to get in, get the job and complete the job, and he's done that. Is that his best Kimi Antonelli impression? I think he's going to have to explain that. I think we were hearing a private joke on the team radio.
Let's go, George. You're the best.
Second place. Give us a jaw. You boy?
Nice work there, Kimmy.
Great recovery.
Got a little bit tense at times there, mate, but yeah, great job bringing it back.
Thank you, everyone. What a start of the year. Thank you.
Well, only his fourth podium in Formula One. He equals his best with P2. I feel that breakthrough win is not too far away. George Russell back to the pits. He's led laps here in the past in Australia. He broke down from the lead in 2023. And your driver of the day, Max Verstappen, who went from 20th on the grid to 6th position. A great recovery drive. The retirements, Hulkenberg, Piastri, Hadjar and Bottas. Alonso had pulled into the pits, had the car fixed, got back out there. Stroll finished in the end, 15 laps down. They were doing a similar thing with the test session. George Russell heading his way through. Got a couple of podiums around here, but never a victory.
George, congratulations. Well done. It's a good start. Car and power unit. And the driver has been really good. Congratulations.
I'll be right back for a bit.
The expectation will now be every single time he comes to a paddock on a Sunday that he's going to be the driver to beat. He met those expectations this weekend, and he takes 25 points in the World Championship. Charles Leclerc, 7 times a podium finisher last year, getting his first in the opener of 2026. Hamilton still chases that Grand Prix podium. Then it gets a lot better with those calculations. Yeah, that is your provisional top 10. Point scorers. The debrief has begun between the two that were fighting for the lead in the opening half of the race.
It looks slightly touchy there between Charles Leclerc and George Russell, explaining maybe a bit of racing earlier on.
Now, Russell was on the radio asking, mentioning about their late chop. Sure, we'll hear from both of them in a minute in conversation with the 2009 World Champion Jenson Button. And look at their thoughts, having completed the first podium of the year. We're racing again, each time Shanghai International Circuit. And now let's hear the thoughts from those who will occupy the podium in a few moments. The top 3 for the opening Grand Prix of the year, speaking to Jenson Button.
Congratulations, George. You just won the Australian Grand Prix. But not only that, you've also just won the first F1 race of the new era. How are you feeling?
Feeling incredible. It was a hell of a fight at the beginning. We knew it was going to be challenging. I got on the grid. I saw my battery level. I had nothing in the tank. Made a bad start, and then obviously some really tight battles with Travis. So I was really glad to cross the finish line. But honestly, thank you so much for the team, because it's been a long time coming to have this car beneath us, and I'm going to start off in a better way.
If you look at the results after the race, you have watched the race, you think, oh, Mercedes just had it easy. George just walked away with it. It wasn't quite like that, was it? And it was so nice for us as fans to see you guys fighting out there.
Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It was, we had this suspicion that it was going to be a bit of a yo-yo effect. And as soon as one of us got in front, it just felt impossible to hold it. And obviously with this straight mode, we lose a lot of the front end on the car, so we're sort of just understeering a lot around these corners. So I'm sure the FIA are going to have to improve that a little bit. It was a bit sketchy, but made it in one piece, and just had to do 1-2.
Start the year as you would hope, I'm sure. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Kimmy, that was a very up and down race, but congratulations on coming home P2, 1-2 for the team. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it was the best start we could have wished for. Unfortunately, the start was really bad, and I lost a lot of pace. A lot of places, and I find myself, that I have to recover. But overall, was a good race. The pace was very strong, especially at the end, and just looking forward to next week.
every time we watched the screen, you were overtaking another car. So it's nice to see in this new era that there is that opportunity to overtake.
And the racing was incredible in the first few laps. With the overtake is so powerful that it can, give a lot of action. So it was really good fun at the beginning, and now bit of rest and looking forward to China.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Charles, first of all, thank you for making that race proper exciting with George. How was the car? How was the race? How was this new era of F1?
It was a very, very tricky race. I mean, honestly, at the start, I don't think anybody of us knew what to expect with the fights, with the energy, and then it's even more tricky for the overtakes to defend. You don't really know when your engine, your battery is going to cut in the straight. So while defending, there's massive speed differences. So it's been quite challenging, but I was happy to get out of this battle in first. Unfortunately, that didn't help us for the rest of the race, but it was a fun first part of the race. Then P3 is the best we could do today.
Yeah, that start was kind of what everyone expected from Ferrari, but you made the move on George in turn one. It looked like it was actually on the brakes rather than acceleration.
What are some things that make you the person that is switching off the lights have been quite cheeky, because for the first start of the season with these cars to go so quick, lights off, was I think it took everybody by surprise, and we're always very much on the limit with the power units. So I think that played a little bit in our hands, but it's part of the game. I mean,
I have to ask, without the virtual safety car, do you think you would have had an opportunity to fight George for the win?
I don't think so, but maybe I'm wrong.
What are some things that make you unique?
Mercedes maybe had a bit more pace than us today, but maybe not as much as what we saw yesterday, so that's a good thing. But I don't think we will have that.
Thanks, guys. The top three. I think they're all explaining the other questions. The top three. In conversation with Jensen Button. And Ferrari up and running with a podium in the opener. The cars crossing the line together. 0.6 of a second between Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Interesting that Charles Leclerc didn't believe there was the chance to fight overall for the win. Just don't know. What's your rival in your position that they don't want to run in? The car's different, clean air.
Ooh, he's gonna do champagne. George is doing champagne. We're about to see he's gonna throw it.
He's sliding the champagne. He's going upstairs in a minute to spray it, and here is the national anthem. So mission complete. First race of the season. That's the moment they all dream of. Seeing the checkered flag first. Smiles all round in the Mercedes garage. Russell losing his teammate to the win. Antonelli very pleased to recover, losing positions off the start. And the crowd awaiting the first podium of the season. George Russell is the 7th different winner in the last 7 Australian Grand Prix. So the fans that turn up en masse are treated to a different name on the top step in recent times. Kimi Antonelli has tied his best career finish with P2 in a Grand Prix. And the Ferrari's 3rd and 4th. Lando Norris in P5. It's his 5th consecutive top 6 finish in Melbourne. So again shows a strong form. Our winner last year and did well to hold off Max Verstappen, whose 10 race podium run, which is the second longest in his Formula 1 career, has come to a halt with that P6. But considering he rose up the order from 20th, pretty decent. George Russell in 2026. DC's name there on the left a couple of times, 1997 and 2003. Choosing the nature of this place, there's no obvious cool down room, so we had a little bit of the debrief there. But it's up the stairs and then at the back of the podium, so it's more of a, there's no seating. It's an odd one, this. We don't get this anywhere else. It's just the nature of this here.
I almost broke his parents in 9. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank goodness they found them.
Well, I didn't know where Hajar was, so I was looking in my mirror for Hajar, and he was... We both started on the grid, 0% last week. But I think Hajar, well, I was like...
Oh, that was almost. That was a close crash.
I screwed up here. I didn't press my opening. I thought it was done, but I didn't press the opening in the booth. Yeah. So what was now? There's a woman doing flag ground on basically. Oh. You guys weren't slow. You were not slow. But yes, they guys. Yeah, but I think you guys screwed up Q3 because nobody really improved it. We went 10 miles shot.
Always feels like George Russell is part driver, part analyst, giving us some really excellent feedback there. So he feels Ferrari were closer in qualifying. The team did say, Fred was there, did say yesterday.
Oh God, here we go. Some of these fans are running.
This is brilliant sight at the end for everyone to run their way to the podium.
Podium.
Down on the exit of turn 2. They've got a long run to make it. But I do think they can get there by the end. The crowd invasion has begun. The first Grand Prix of the year in the books.
Alright, here they come.
7 times on the podium.
Third, Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc. Short one for the song. Kimi Antonelli, second place. And now,
For George Russell, claiming his 25th podium and his 6th career victory.
George Russell. Georgie.
Russell will climb onto the top step and hear his national anthem.
The British national anthem. That was a short one. And who do we got? The German national anthem for the home for the Kingdom of Mercedes.
Well, this is special for George Russell. He's waited his chance for a tilt at the title. It's only his 6th Grand Prix victory.
You deserved it.
And he's first in Australia. There's a gold medal to go with it as well.
on, do the champagne.
Victory for Mercedes was predicted by many. You've still got to deliver it. Jubilation for the group of mechanics underneath the podium who have worked so hard in pre-season testing and this weekend to get these new cars up and running. Kimi Antonelli giving a wonderful reception from the crowd. He adds to his podium collection, only the fourth of his career and matches his personal best with P2. Charles Leclerc having another one, 51 podiums now in Formula 1, the driver who made his debut in 2018.
All right, here we go. Oh, spray it, spray it. Spray it all, bitches.
The champagne sprays for Mercedes. Charles Leclerc fought lap after lap. But when
wipe it out.
German team hit the front, they stayed there.
Ah, so good.
Brilliantly executed race once they had clear air for the championship favourite team and driver Kimi Antonelli.
Oh yeah, put it on your head, but don't put it in your eyes.
Not a clean weekend for him, but still a high level of performance. And the Oscar Piastri fans have seen plenty of overtaking, and they will hope in the future their home favourite can finish a Sunday on these steps. But it's George Russell, Kimi Antonelli and Charles Leclerc who get us up and running. Mercedes have built a brilliant car, but Ferrari not too far away. When we go to circuits with slower corners, could they be more in the mix than we have seen this weekend? That is what the team in Brackley craves and Brixworth, where they work on the power unit, and they have achieved it. Mercedes on top to start the year. George Russell, the driver to beat in Formula 1. In my word, there is a long way to go until we reach the end of the season. Let's confirm the first result of the year. George Russell has taken the checkered flag for his 6th Grand Prix victory. And Mercedes won too, their first in the season opener since 2019. They won both titles that year. Charles Leclerc with a 51st podium in Formula 1. Lewis Hamilton next to a second behind his teammate at the flag. Good battle between Norris and Verstappen. It was Norris there. Oliver Behrman was a lap down, but in P7. Arvid Lindblad, a point scorer, Formula 1 on debut, 70th driver to achieve that. Audi scoring points in their first race in Formula 1. Gasly had a scrap with Bortoleto, had a scrap with Esteban.
What the? I accidentally watched it.
Stroll finishing what was essentially a test session. Alonso, Bottas, Hadjar, Piastri and Hulkenberg, the retirements. 7-point lead for George Russell, the first time he has ever led the Drivers' Championship. Which obviously after what is exactly the same order that I just read out. Notable for Arvid Lindblad,
Huh? You froze?
the 4-point. Easiest week for reliability-wise for Williams. Colapinto into the wall at one point, but able to continue. Work to do for Aston Martin with Fernando Alonso getting laps on the board. He completed 37 laps, Stroll completed 15 across the course of the day. In the Constructors' Championship, a maximum for Mercedes to open up the year. Ferrari in second and McLaren in third. All of those points scored by Lando Norris in fourth. Red Bull Racing, Hadjar retired. Haas in fifth, and it's Racing Bulls, Audi and Alpine yet to get on the board. Williams, Cadillac, and Aston Martin. Well, an enormous thanks to Julian Palmer and David Coulthard, all of the team in
front of the camera and behind the camera, and working through the night in the UK. We're up and running in F1 2026. This broadcast of Formula One on Apple TV is presented by American Express. There's hearing about it,
Alright.
and then there's being there with Platinum. There's nothing like feeling the rush of adrenaline up close.
Alright, I'm gonna wrap this video, so thank you guys for watching. Thank you all for tuning in to my stream, because that solo stream was fun. Now, anyways, if you did enjoy my live stream, make sure to make sure to subscribe, and please get me to I hope I can get my main channel back, because I'm gonna explain everything in my community post. So, anyways, like I said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next. Would you lower it down? Anyways, sorry about that. Anyways, see ya.